Ahead of the 2023 general elections in Nigeria, terror attacks seem to be on the increase. The recent terrorist attacks along Abuja-Kaduna rail services, which resulted into the killing of passengers on board, including the director with the National Board for Technical Education, Abdu Isa Kofa Mata, and the Secretary General of the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria, Barrister Musa-Lawal Ozigi, has once again opened up the discourse on Nigeria's insecurity challenges. Despite the order of Nigeria's President and Commander-in-Chief, Muhammadu Buhari, to the service chiefs that they should deal with the bandits or terrorists ruthlessly, the terrorists responded to the President's order by ambushing another passenger train along the beleaguered Abuja-Kaduna track as the train was returning from Abuja to Kaduna. According to Rotimi Amechi, the Minister of Transportation in Nigeria, the attack would have been foiled if government had procured 3 billion naira high-capacity rail track cameras and sensors. He said the equipment will eliminate all blind spots on the train corridors across the country. Joining us from our Abuja studio to discuss the rising terror attacks in Nigeria, especially the northern part of Nigeria, is Alhaji Lawal Batagarawa, former Minister of Defense in the Olusegun Obasanjo administration. Alhaji Batagarawa, good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Well, quickly, you were Minister of State Defense in the Obasanjo administration. You've also had many other positions in the country, and you are from a troubled, the entire country is troubled. So we can't say one person is from a troubled part of the country. What do you make of this major challenge that Nigeria faces, despite the promise in 2015 that the Buhari administration will deal with insecurity in Nigeria? Now, a few months to the general elections in 2023, the needle seems to be moving backwards. What do you think is responsible for that? And what should government do?
There are many factors that are responsible for insecurity. Now, and each of these factors needs to be looked at on its own merit and analyzed and come up with a solution for it. First of all, let's look at the banditry and the trajectory, the way it developed in northern Nigeria as a whole. Now, you will note that for a long time, most of these banditry attacks are attributed to Fulani herdsmen. But if you look at it carefully, yes, that is true, but we could have seen it coming over a long period of time and adapted our security situation to the new reality that is unfolding. However, we didn't do that in good enough time, but you can see that is now changing. The security services are adapting their operations to the new challenges. And that is something to give us some level of confidence that we'll start going in the right direction to deal with this problem. Let us look at a bit of history to know that our military has been performing very well, both in the national and international theater. Don't let us forget, it is a Nigerian military that helped to solve some problems in Congo, Liberia, Sierra Leone. And they did exceedingly well. They were commended all over the world. But those were more like conventional warfare. Now you are dealing with terrorism, which changes the tactics of the enemy. And therefore, new training methods, new method of thinking will have to be evolved and developed to deal with these problems. And if we take the train attack on Monday night, we can see that there has been an improvement in the operational activity of the military and the police. You see, I was not on the train, but I had a lot of people on the train. A very good friend of mine, who is really my junior brother, lost his daughter in that attack. My classmate, Engineer Bello Suleiman, who was one-time Minister of Power, one-time MD NEPA, was on that train. Now, what the security agents did in the train was to engage the bandits in gunfight. It allowed the passengers, especially in the business class area, to move into the economy area. Now, so it saved a number of lives. However, even at that, you can see, based on what the passengers were saying, the security agencies need a little bit more training to tell people what to do in a situation like this. How do they behave? How do they act? So that you minimize the amount of injuries, the amount of death, and the people who can escape from the scene. So all I'm trying to say to you is that one of the most important things that we need to do to pay attention to is an improvement, one, in the training of the security agencies, two, having a more holistic approach in terms of intelligence gathering, intelligence analysis, and acting on the basis of the intelligence.
Thank you so much for that excellent point to raise there, Alhaji. But what's your take on other sort of wider-ranging, long-term solutions? It's been posited that Nigeria needs to have state police. The president has rejected this suggestion on numerous occasions, citing, amongst other reasons, the fact that states can have problems at times with paying salaries. So if they have state police, armed men that are not paid, it could be a recipe for disaster. What's your take on that? And also, people like Governor Zulum of Borno State have said that we need to have mercenaries come into Nigeria and just flush out the terrorists, which the president has also rejected because of, obviously, United Nations and African Union conventions against the use of mercenaries. What's your take on these two more, long-term solutions to this problem that we're facing?
What you are suggesting are not long-term solutions. They are ad hoc solutions. If you bring in mercenaries, maximum 3 months they have done what they want to do, and they are gone. The long-term solution to these problems have to be properly thought out and properly implemented. Let us look at it objectively. Listen, the herdsmen, in spite of the poor medical services we think we have, child mortality has greatly reduced. You will find that previously you can get a Fulani person, they will have 10 children, barely 3 will survive. Today they will have 10 children, all of them will survive up to the age of 5. So their population is increasing much faster than the way they are generating the way they are generating money to sustain themselves. So they are increasingly going into poverty. You go to the urban areas, you have the same problem. It is all over Nigeria. It is not restricted to northern Nigeria alone. So, but let me give you a more concrete example on that basis. Fishermen, they are like Fulani people. They are always migrating from one area to another. But their population is also increasing. So at that rate, the level of fishing they need to do to sustain themselves is much higher than what they are doing now. But remember, the fish itself is reducing, and the demand for it is increasing. So it means that those fishermen, at some point, their population will exceed their ability to sustain themselves. So the question of poverty across the country is an issue that has to be tackled as part of your long-term solution. Now, unless you do that, even if you crush the current bandits and terrorists, these people that are being produced with nowhere to go, they will go into that banditry and terrorism. So the issue of expanding the economy to accommodate more people is a critical factor of the solution of insecurity. As I said earlier, the issue of improved capacity, qualitative capacity of the security agencies to manage information, to relate to people better so that they can get better intelligence and operate on the basis of that intelligence is also a critical factor. Because whatever you do, it is much better for you to stop an incident from happening than to investigate it. The easiest way you can stop a lot of these incidences from happening is by getting quality intelligence. So you can see it is not an ad hoc solution that is going to be the basis of finding a long-term sustainable solution. It is sitting down, looking at the problems in a more objective, more careful manner. And there is need to have cooperation between a number of things. Number one, intellectuals. They have a role to play here. They can do a lot of research work and give us a better information as actually how things are going in different places. Number two, how do we develop our economy in such a way that young people, as they are coming in, they can be accommodated into the economy and then they feel contented. That will stop them from considering going into banditry or terrorism as a means of getting a livelihood. And once they are occupied, then you can see the chances of them going into these nefarious activities are reduced. But also let's look at it from our own selves. One of the most important things that we have to be able to do is to agree as a nation across board that we do have problems. And it is in our objective best interest to sit down together and agree to the solutions and work towards them. The issue of multitude of positions, this one is pulling this way, this one is pulling that way, is not a recipe for success. Success requires that we must, as a nation, as a country, agree that these problems affect all of us. It's not a northern problem, it's not a southern problem, it is a Nigerian problem. Two, as parents, we must give our kids the basic minimum support to become honest people. We are not doing that very well now. Let me give you an example. Parents sit down sometimes with their children, sometimes to encourage them to cheat in exams or to buy job openings for them. They know these kids are not stupid. They know these are illegal things to do. So parents are encouraging or teaching their people, if you do a criminal thing, it doesn't matter, for as long as you get a result. That has nothing to do with government. It has to do with us as parents, as grandparents. We must be able to agree with ourselves. There are certain things that all of us are doing wrong as a society, that all of us are Nigerians. We belong to Nigeria. Nigeria is important to us, and we are prepared to work together towards finding the solution. This unity of purpose is extremely important, and it should be the foundation of whatever problems we want to find. Without that foundation, it will be very, very difficult for us to get somewhere. So, one, unity of purpose. Two, we must begin to live on the basis of honesty. We must tell each other the truth. We must train our kids to be honorable. This is a parental issue. We can get support of religious scholars Because then they will be talking to us on the basis of this is what God said about honesty.
Exactly.
So they have a role to play. So the
Alhaji?
entire society. Okay, sorry.
You're absolutely spot on. But I did say long term because enabling legislation cannot be passed tomorrow. But I just want to clarify, are you opposed to the idea of state police and the use of mercenaries? Are you fundamentally opposed to those two solutions?
Yes.
Okay,
The
thank you,
answer
sir.
is yes. And I can give you a reason why.
Okay, Alhaji, real quickly. So you've said a lot. Great.
Yes, Doctor.
Some people will posit that, one, all the monies spent by terrorists to purchase weapons and bullets in the last 10 years, all of that money would end poverty in the North. Because war is not a cheap venture. And that brings me to this angle of sponsors of terrorism. Recently, some people were mentioned. What have we as a country done as regards that? Because the argument you made about poverty, I get the argument. But as a counter-argument to that all of the money spent, thousands of bandits or terrorists carrying AK-47, one that we know cost a lot, and the rounds of bullet they shoot, these things are not free. People are sponsoring them. And that money will end poverty in the North. What's your take on that rebuttal?
You see,
And the sponsors, let's talk about the sponsor that nobody has done anything about.
You see, that when you are talking about sponsors, there is a reality, there is conspiracy theory. And let's get the two of them clearly sorted out. The reality is that bandits are taking a lot of money as ransom, and it's huge. Do they have allies within the towns? Yes, they do. This is what are called the informers to the bandits. Do they have sponsors within the security agencies? I don't know. If I say to you yes, then I'm lying because I don't know. So what I can do is to sit down and analyze on the basis of what I know, not on the basis of what I speculate or what somebody else is speculating. But the point you are making that the amount of money they have extracted from the society is huge. Yes, you are right. However, as you know very well, money itself does not end poverty. Because to end poverty means that each and every person will have an income on a regular basis. If I'm just going to get money today, for the next 6 months I don't have money, I'm in trouble. So to put that money into effective economic activity is something that requires planning and execution. I'm not a businessman. I cannot compete in business with Aliko Dangote or Abdul Samad Rabiu or Jim Ovia or Tony Elimelu. That is, but they know what to do if they have cash at their disposal to increase it. I can't. That's not my training. I mean, that's not what I do.
But sir,
So
the point
is this: the point is this: unless this money is utilized properly to generate greater wealth and accommodate more people into the mainstream of the economy, then it is useless. Money that is sitting idle is called dead money. So the issue is that, yes, a lot of surplus has been extracted, but it is not being put into a way, even if it is sitting there, unless it is put in a way that will generate income on a regular basis, it is of no use to the society. So we need an alliance between government and businessmen to push the economy forward.
Okay, sir, but the counter-argument is the fact that terrorism has become a big economy. And in fact, it's got ecosystems where there are major players everywhere. And some people posit that the reason why this continues is because this economy of terrorism in Nigeria satisfies their bidding.
Again, that is speculative. Again, that is speculative. let's sit down and say terrorism, banditry, cultism are wrong for us. Let's sit down as elites, as leaders of Nigeria to say this is the way forward. This is the support we'll give to our security agencies to crush existing bandits and the terrorists. And this is the way we will grow our economy to take our people out of poverty. And this is so if we do that, then we will get to the end of this terrorism. But for as long as we restrict our discussions, this is the argument, this is the counter-argument, it is not going to take us anywhere. We must sit down and look at today and look at tomorrow and prepare for tomorrow, for the day after tomorrow. We must think of the future. We cannot solve our problem by just reducing all our discussion about the problem in terms of argument and counter-argument. No, it won't do. A lot of these arguments is not supported by any serious data or research. It is speculative. But let's sit down and agree. First and foremost, we must get ourselves out of this problem. Yes, Doctor.
Yes, I would like you to respond to two things.
Yes, Doctor.
Yesterday on the floor of the House of Representatives, the majority leader, Alhassan Doguwa, said that the way out of this is for government to allow every Nigerian to carry firearms. That since government has failed us, all of us should just carry firearms. There was also another reaction. Another federal lawmaker, Yakubu Bade.
Doctor, let me respond to you fast. No, don't go far.
Okay, I wanted to quote another lawmaker.
No, this is enough. Doctor, you are an intellectual. What that rep is suggesting is anarchy. If everybody is armed, we are heading towards anarchy. Is that a solution? It is a confounding the problem. You as an intellectual, you know the implication of that statement. And it is up to you to take us out of that problem by explaining to us anarchy is not a solution to banditry, terrorism, cultism, and insecurity. Anarchy is just confounding the problem. Because then there is no law, there is no order. Everybody can do as he wishes. That is not a solution.
Okay. The other gentleman I was going to refer to is Honorable Yakubu Bade. Honorable Yakubu Bade has been quoted as saying, look, this problem is this serious because the Nigerian military establishment is working hand in gloves with the terrorists. And we may just wake up one day, they will take over, these terrorists will take over the Federal Capital Territory. Do you agree with the view that there's complicity in this matter?
No. In fact, I take a very serious exception to that statement. And I think it's a very wrong statement. It shouldn't have been made. Look, listen. The military men are being killed in these operations. They are being maimed. Go to 44 Hospital in Kaduna. See the number of military people who are wearing artificial legs for wounds they have sustained fighting terrorists and bandits. And that they are creating widows out of these military men. And then somebody will now come and say they are in cohorts with this. How can you be in cohort with somebody who is killing you, who is maiming you? How can you be in cohort with them? I take a very serious exception to that statement. I feel it shouldn't have been made, especially by somebody who is responsible as part of the government. All legislators are part of the government. And they should weigh their words carefully. The Nigerian military are doing a good job. Nigerians may not feel how good it is, but ask, for instance, the people who are on that train, the support they got from the military. After the attack, the military came to the rescue of the victims. And it was, in my view, a very good show by the military. Actually, the military men were carrying the injured and wounded from the scene of the accident for about 2 kilometers on their back to the safety of the vehicles that they brought, and they were taken to hospitals. You cannot tell me somebody who is putting that kind of commitment, who is doing that kind of job, is in cohort with the people who are shooting him, who are killing him. That doesn't sit well. It is not right. And people in authority should not be making this kind of statements. It is unfair to the military. It is unfair to the security agencies. They should not be making it. We must support our military. We should help them to improve the quality of their operations, not to be denigrating them when they are putting their lives on the line on our behalf. This is not right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. What is your assessment of, another solution that's been posited by the Minister of Transport this time about surveillance equipment, sensors on the tracks? Do you think that will be sufficient in terms of technology? And earlier you mentioned intelligence gathering. Why are we limited in this area of intelligence gathering in terms of villagers not giving information to the military, not escalating issues? What's the problem there? What needs to be addressed?
Okay. You see, so there are two questions here. Let me talk about what the minister said in the first instance. Look, technology does not operate on its own. Technology provides services to human beings. Even if you put the technology and do not train the people to use the technology is useless. So technology is only a support. It is just like a computer, and they say garbage in, garbage out. It's the same thing. If you give a sophisticated technology to people who do not know how to use it, it's useless. So putting technology should be guided by the requirements of what is on the ground. We should not just throw money to say that we have the technology. We should not throw money at that. We should use technology appropriately, correctly. Now, so that's one side. The second, the issue of intelligence gathering. Now, this is where there is a serious weakness. Intelligence gathering has to be supported by effective administration. Because, as we know, it is not, the villager may be afraid of the policeman. So he may not necessarily go and tell the policeman what is going on, because he's afraid of the policeman. Now, but the villager can go to his religious leader, or to his community leader, or to a businessman and give that information. What that means is that there is need for a coordinating body that can be meeting on a regular basis. And all these sources of intelligence can now be put together. Now, the reality is that information itself, intelligence itself, has two sides to it. You can have misinformation, you can have information. So there must be a coordinated body that can filter what is a real information, what is a disinformation. Because don't forget, if you operate on the basis of disinformation, the security forces can be ambushed and be killed. No commander would like to send his troops to a certain death. He would like them to go and succeed in the operations that he has defined for them. That means correct information, valuable information is what they require. So that means there has to be a filter. Now, the policeman on the ground who may collect information, the ordinary student on the ground that may collect information, they may not appreciate that it is level of importance. So that filter is the coordination mechanism. One of the biggest problems we have, which hinders effective security in Nigeria, is the collapse of the local government system. You cannot operate a country and say that the first line of administration is the state, and the second line of administration is the federal government. The control mechanism is too wide. It's too wide. So local governments need to be revived in an effective way with effective administration. Now, look at it this way: there will be extension workers, agricultural extension workers, who will be moving around all the localities. The farmers will talk to them. Those same extension workers can be intelligence officers. So they are doing two jobs. They are doing extension service, they are doing intelligence work. Look at it. Primary school supervisors, the teachers will be talking to them. They can be talking to some parents. So they can operate as supervisors, but also as intelligence people. But even if they collect all of this information, it has to be put somewhere where it is quality and its importance will be assessed. And you can do it better at the level of the local government, because all these are local government staffs. Because part of the importance of information, if you are going to fight terrorists and bandits, cultists, and all criminals, is that the criminal is not aware of the level of information you have, so that you can stop him from committing his crime. Now, the smaller, all right.
Okay, sir. Okay. I would like to say a very big thank you to you for your views this morning. I really appreciate you for your time, sir. Thank you so much for the time spent with us.